Good everyone, welcome to Switching Grooves. I'm Russ Fritz, and tonight we are up close and personal with the all-new voice of the new 2025 All-Star Circuit of Champions, Alex Robinson. I am also joined by my co-host Nathan Johns. Guys, welcome.
What's up? Nice to meet you, Alex.
I'm here.
Man, this is cool. I've been waiting to do this one. I've been excited for it. Oh man, I say we just jump right into it. So, Nathan, what do you got? You got anything? Oh, Nathan is phone is disconnected.
I'm
I
better
believe,
now. I got it fixed.
but so Alex, tell us a little bit about yourself. A few personal details and how you kind of came into what you do.
COVID. I will start with COVID. How this all chaos became a thing. So when COVID happened, I was on iRacing just like every other race person was because that's just what we do. And
I think I'm the only one that doesn't have iRacing in a computer set.
I actually don't have iRacing either. I wish I did. I have an account, but I don't have a rig to race in or anything.
But oh boy, dogs are barking. Hold on one second.
Yeah, I don't have an iRacing setup, and I would really love to have one, but I don't have the place or the room for it. I mean,
Yeah, I bought a sprint car rig, but I have yet to do anything actually with it. So my goal is to eventually have a racing rig, but for now I just have a chassis to put it in.
Don't we love pets?
I mean, they are cute and cuddly.
And until they just want to disagree with each other of who can go where.
I mean,
Yeah,
at that
ain't no
point,
lie.
It was a Wild West standoff of one wanted to go one way, one wanted to go the other way, and it was Gandalf saying, "You shall not pass." But it's fine. It works
that
that
was
way.
great.
Do
That might
not
be the
pass
greatest
go.
reference I've heard.
The Wild West and Gandalf in the same sentence. It shouldn't work that way, but it does.
That's great.
But went from iRacing, then went to Shellhammers. Got a phone call from one of the guys from iRacing. Well, correction. So iRacing got a phone call going, "You want to make some money?" And I'm like, it's during COVID, so I'm really concerned of why you're asking me what kind of money I want to make here. He goes, "I just need someone to talk." He goes, "You don't have to do much. Just watch the race, talk, and just make money at the end of the day." I'm like, "Okay, sure." Well, a few months go by, then go to Shellhammers, do that for a year. Second season with them, I go to Renegades of Dirt with UMPs and late models. That was a year Rick Eshelman passed away. The end of the season, got a phone call from World Racing Group, actually from our series, our tech official who worked for Dirt Car and World Racing Group. He calls me and goes, "You're going to Charlotte, right?" I'm like, "Yeah, why?" He goes, "Bring your headset. You're going to announce too." And I'm like, "Oh, okay, sure."
Okay, thanks. You got
like,
voluntold.
I'm like, 2-week notice, but thanks, sure. So stressful because you got to think 500 some cars showing up to Charlotte and a 21-year-old announcer showing up to Charlotte. It's going to be an interesting one.
It's definitely surprising.
Oh, the legend of Jimmy Barr. I saw that comment come across and I knew exactly who it was. I'm going to. There's the legends of why we started late tonight because I was like, I'm not interfering with the Central PA boys and turn two terribles because I will never hear the end of it.
Hey, that's completely fine.
But then got a phone call from Doug Rose, did Bridgeport in New Jersey for a year and a half till about May of last year. Went out to Vegas, did nothing, just lived in Vegas, bowled a lot. And then November comes around. Actually, it was end of October comes around when the announcement came out that the All Stars were coming back. I literally had maybe 3 text messages with Rich, a phone call with Rich, and he texted me the night before Thanksgiving going, "Hey, just wanted to welcome you to the All Stars." And I'm like, "Oh, Okay, sure. Wasn't expecting this the night before Thanksgiving, and me and Russ were talking about it earlier. Almost spiked a Thanksgiving turkey because it was one of those I'm carving the turkey the night before and get that text message. My best friends are on the phone. I literally like the FaceTime phone call was the most hysterical phone call because it was just a bunch of screaming.
It's one of those things, man.
You would have thought we were a bunch of high schoolers and one of us just got asked to prom.
That's great.
Like the screaming of a bunch of teenagers is what it was a comparison to. And honestly, we were supposed to start this weekend. It still really hasn't. I feel like it won't set in until I pull up for whenever our opening night at this point, because Mother Nature loves to be bipolar at this point.
We were supposed to get an insane amount of rain on this side of the state, and we got home and there was nothing. So maybe tomorrow.
Good.
And I know the feeling of what you're talking about when you said you got the call from Rich, or the message from Rich, or because when in 2023 for the 2023 season, the last year that the Fair Board was in charge of the racetrack of Fremont Speedway that Rich actually promotes as well. I was the assistant flagman there, and the way I got that job was the head flagman actually left to make some changes in his life and better himself. So his brother, which was his assistant, became head flagman, and he knew that I had experience. And he just texted me, and out of the blue, he was like, "You want to help me?" I was like, "Well, hell yeah, I want to help you, man!" Like I was like a kid in a candy store, like getting all my stuff around, and like this is like October. I don't even know. I didn't even wait a week. We were at the store buying my referee stripe jersey because that's what we wore back then. But like it was crazy. So I know the feeling. Trying to pull up my text here. There it is. So at times, sprint car racing can actually be pure chaos. So how do you turn that insanity into an electrifying call for the fans?
Couldn't tell you. Honestly, everyone asked me many questions going, how do you do it? What do you do? And I'm like, I wing it.
You just do it.
I'm like,
You
I can't tell you what I do. I'm like, I just show up and do it. I'm like, besides from sponsor reads and everything else, calling racing, I just wing it.
Kind of like Nike, just do it.
Pretty much. It's one of those where I feel like if you get so focused on everything else and doing everything and anything possible to fill time and do this and do that, I have ADHD. Guess what? The ADHD kicks in very quickly when you're trying to read 40 million things. Sponsor reads is one thing, driver sponsors is one thing, but then you're trying to do and just plug, I don't want to say absolute nonsense, but don't act like you're just reading a book. Besides from sponsor reads and all the sponsorship stuff, don't sit here and read like you're reading everything off a paper, because I'm sorry, I'm not going to want people to hear that, because I don't want to be reading it like that, because I'm going to get bored. And if I get bored, I know you're bored.
It gives it character almost.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Just from talking with you being able to just absolutely ad-lib is probably the greatest talent ever, because you could just rattle off all kinds of more or less nonsense and it actually sound great. I mean, earlier you made the reference to Gandalf and the Wild West, and it was probably the greatest reference I've ever heard somebody make.
It's one of those where you have to.
And I absolutely love it. I mean, I have ADHD also, and I can 100% agree that if you could just rattle stuff off and just keep going, Russ can tell you, I get absolutely animated over some of the craziest things. But, when it comes to announcing stuff like that, it's probably the greatest talent you could ever have, and I love that.
Well, then
Me, when it
always,
comes, I'll sit here and write up a show for hours. When to do an hour show, I'll spend 4 or 5 hours writing a show. Like my mind just continuously goes and goes and goes. It just doesn't stop. So I don't know, man. I'll write up 5 hours worth of content and only use a half an hour worth of it because my portion is a half an hour and Nathan's is a half an hour. So
And usually I run over by accident. I'll admit to that. I'm not good at
yeah,
time
sometimes I
management.
only get to use about 15 minutes worth of content, but
I am horrible at time management when it comes to that.
so he usually lets me go first, but
well, then it
I'll
always
fill whatever's left.
always makes me laugh because, like Rich, we were talking about like different equipment for announcing wise. And he's like, "Well, just a handheld." I'm like, "I talk with my hands way too much for any sort of handheld mic in a press box. Like when I am calling a race, there has to be a headset on because I am moving my hands out." I said, in retrospect, you would think I'm Italian with how much I talk with my hands.
I'm trying so hard not to laugh, but that describes me so well. You and I would get along great. Like, this is hilarious to me.
But it's also one of those where if people look up in the press box and see me talk with my hands, they get concerned because they don't understand. Like,
They look
it's
like
what
you're
I
about to throw
do.
hands or something.
They're
I'm the
like,
same way.
is he? And it's going to be funny. I really hope Flo does not put a camera in the press box like Johnny Gibson and them have because the amount of
That would be
hand
great.
movement that will be going on as I'm talking about
The
drivers
camera.
and right, people are going to be concerned. Like we did it in Charlotte. Now the difference with Charlotte, the dirt track at Charlotte, you would think with how big that press box and how big the facility is, the announcer's booth would be semi comfortable.
Yeah, no, I can imagine that.
Absolutely not. I am shoulder to shoulder with my other announcer.
like all this.
The Dirt Vision guys are right behind you. And it is like you're in a cubicle built for two. But it's not built
That's
for
great.
Felt the same way about the flag stand when I went, watching Monty as a kid flag there and seeing that flag stand compared to Attica's. I was like, man, there's not going to be a whole lot of room up there. And I'm pretty hefty guy, I mean, not super fat, but I weigh 250, 260 pounds somewhere in there. And I figured it would be really, really cramped up there. But to be honest with you, it's actually pretty roomy up there. So but,
it's always also
yeah,
funny because people are like, "Oh, here's a chair for you," and I'm like, "I'll take a
What's
seat."
that for?
I'm like, "I'll take a seat when it's not my turn, and I'll be, adjusting my lineups for their sponsors and cars and my documents." And I will wholeheartedly tell you, if any announcer ever looks at my documents, they'd be really confused on how I do what I do because my system is one of those that only I can do. Because I will like literally color coordinate who's in what heat and do starting lineups that way. And it's like, if you looked at it, everyone would be like, "Huh?" And I'm like, "Yep, welcome to my life."
And I know the frustration of working with someone else. Like, I was the guy passing flags, so I put them in the order that I liked them, so I could reach and grab which one I knew to grab without having to look at them. And
I've been on the receiving end of messing that up.
And I know that when the head flagman would switch with me, so he could take a break and he would let me do like 305 races, he would have to switch them all back around the way he liked them, and that probably got on his nerves a little bit. But hey, it's no big deal. I mean, when I switch back, I just move them back to where I like them. It was no big deal. But I know the frustration of working with someone and having to keep calm about it. Here's something. What's your pre-race ritual, or how do you prepare before a race? Do you stalk all the driver stats? Do you study track conditions, or you just kind of wing it like everything else?
So You can't ask these drivers because none of them have met me yet. You ask drivers in the past that know me, especially drivers from Bridgeport. When I show up, I will not talk to them about last week's race or this week's race. We will BS about the most randomest of things because, in all honesty, I don't want to be concerned about tonight yet until I'm in my office ready to go. They don't want to be concerned about tonight or last week until they're in their car ready to go. Or when drivers meeting happens is when like you lock in, you're ready to go. If I'm there an hour and a half before a race, I don't want to talk about tonight. I don't want to talk about it. Now give and take working on a 600. If those guys ask me how that week went, I'll look at them and go, I really don't want to talk about that because knowing my luck, it'll be one of those weeks where they ask me about that and my driver junks the car and I'm sitting there, say a race that we run Friday night. I'll be driving 6 hours Friday morning and Wednesday night into Thursday morning, I'll be in the shop about 5 hours trying to get this car ready so I don't have to do it when I come back from a weekend. I wholeheartedly told my driver, I was like, it's your car. You put the money into it. All I ask is when Ohio Speed Week is, you do not junk this car because after 9 days on the road, I don't want to fix it.
Sorry, I'm just typing something out for the comments.
Speaking of my driver, it'll be fine. No, it won't be fine.
So your driver, you have a car?
No, it's his car. I just yell at him a lot for it.
I like that. That's a good strategy.
It's one of those of he owns the car. He drives the car. He put me in charge. I don't know why he would do that.
That's great.
I don't know why I literally put on my Snapchat story. I go, who trusts an announcer with this? And I got a handful of comments going, I would not trust you with a car.
So
that's great.
Do you have anything planned out to say for like the four wide salute, how they've done in the past where they use the script of the All-Stars and how they were formed, and you know the script?
Yes. Did it come to me out of the blue? Absolutely.
Oh boy.
I literally texted to Rich and I go, believe it or not, that I just came up with that 10 seconds ago. He goes, well, it's good. I'm like, oh, well, thank God. Now that's one less thing I got to be concerned about.
Well, I won't ask you to say it here because I don't want to spoil it for your first night. But if you do say it, that's completely up to you. But I'm not going to ask you to say it because I don't want to spoil it. I am excited for this. I'm very, very excited for a new voice and a young guy such as yourself. I mean, how old are you again?
Yeah, because you tried to add a year on me a little bit ago. I am 24, not 25. And Russ told me earlier in the day, and he just told me a 25-year-old. I'm like, excuse me, sir. Give me my few months yet of 24 before I'm an actual adult.
I feel so relieved that I'm not the youngest person here.
Oh, thanks.
But this is very, very exciting to me because, like I told you earlier on the phone, we need guys like you and guys like Chase to start coming into the sport, into these roles, and you can help connect with that younger crowd and the new crowd of people that are coming into the sport. Because guys, and nothing against them whatsoever, I love them and they have great voices and they've done a great job over all the years. But guys like Brian Lisky and Johnny Gibson and all the others that have been around for such a long time sometimes have a little bit, and not on their part, I'll say the fans sometimes have a little bit of trouble connecting with them, and they're getting to the towards the end of their career. I mean, I don't think Johnny's gonna be going anywhere, nor Brian, for quite some time, but once we do have those guys gone, we're gonna have new great personalities such as you and Chase to just roll right into it and take right over. We won't have to worry about it. So I'm excited to see this. It's awesome. I think it's great.
Who you can? We have, I think. Let me look at the schedule before I say something that I'm not right about.
Well, you get the fact checkers ready.
That's how I feel. Wayne County, when we have back to school, when we have that back to school blowout race, I have joked around with some of my friends. I was like, I could really play like Disney music and like old cartoon themes for this night, but I'm like, I really want to hear. I'm one of those that I love the haters.
Oh
I'm
my
not.
And you
I'm
could,
god.
not Danny. I'm not Danny Dietrich. If I will tweet it out, I love Danny because he's the most controversial figure in all of racing for it. But it's like if you're gonna bash me on social, I am 24. You want to bash me? I'm like, whatever. Thanks. Like, okay, sure. You've been alive
Dan,
about 20 to 30 years more than me. If you want to talk trash on social media about me, sure. I'm just here. And I feel like that night, if I play like old music from like the Goofy movie or like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and
oh,
Scooby Doo
Oh
themes,
boy. Now
I'm
they're
never
if
now
you're
they're getting to my age range.
I'm never going
if you're
to
gonna
get the
go
end about it, but it's going to be a fun night.
if you're gonna go that route, you should have wore those Disney headphones that you
Absolutely not.
weren't
So
they
now
weren't
you
they
gotta
Disney
have like a
princess?
trivia. You gotta play the oldest cartoons you know and see how many kids can guess or sing along with it.
Listen, I might tell Rich and be like, "Hey, let's do some fun stuff this night, especially that night." I love I love the promo nights. I'm one of those. I worked at a baseball field. Guess what? I know I was a bat boy. I love promo nights because I always got to wear the jersey to promo nights. And promo night theme songs were the best. We had baseball players like we had Disney night. Baseball players came out to Disney songs. We had pro wrestling night. We had baseball players come out to like Stone Cold and Hulk Hogan theme songs. Like theme nights are what makes it fun. I'm sorry. I don't want to go to a racetrack when it's the same cut and dry, no promo night. Not
You
like
get the walk up music.
we need something.
So
That's great. I love
I'm
that
I'm
idea.
I'm in the entertainment business. As an
I
announcer, I'm
love
in the
this.
entertainment. I'm supposed to entertain you. Are you not entertained?
As somebody who doesn't really watch sprint car racing very much, I almost want to be at every single race just because this sounds like it's going to be an absolute blast where you never know what
so
you're going to get.
so speaking of entertainment, is one question on my list. Who? Well, okay. Well, I'll start this way. I'll reverse my question. What type of driver is, to you, in your opinion, is the most entertaining driver to call? A showboater, somebody like a villain, or someone kind of quiet that just is a silent assassin?
Ooh, I like
And
this question.
and who would that be, in your opinion?
The correct answer, there's only one correct answer, and that correct answer is yes. All of the above.
I like this.
Every story needs a villain.
Ooh.
Every story needs the Daredevil, which we have a Daredevil, and his nickname is the Daredevil for a reason. Because Devin Borden, we have watched it countless times, especially in Central PA. Devin knows how to make moves where there shouldn't be a move thrown at all.
Oh yeah,
Like I grew
that's
up in that generation in Central PA when the Posse versus the Outlaws was good. Not saying anything, not discrediting the Outlaw versus Posse now, but you got to think Donald Kreitz Jr., Fred Raymer, the original Fred Raymer, not Little Freddie, as we all know him as Little Freddie. He's not little anymore. He's having a kid. I mean, he's not little anymore, but it's like Fred, Monteith, Keith Kaufman, the Hall of Famers that were all there. You had Kinzer, Schatz, Danny Lasowski. You had Hall of Famers versus Hall of Famers. And when you come to Central PA, the Outlaws are the villain. There is no ifs, ands, or buts. The Outlaws are the villains in Central PA.
Hey,
Ooh.
speaking of the farmers, you could say hi to your new bosses because they're watching.
Oh boy, I'm going to get a text. I don't think
Shit.
I got a text. But
This is
no,
fun, and
it's
I love doing this stuff. This is not our normal show. We'll do that later on in the week. These shows I keep separate from normal shows because it's all about the person. we're trying to get to know the person, so we don't want to throw any other crap in there. We'll do that later in the week. But come on, Nathan, start asking something.
These are my favorite episodes. I get to sit here and I get to listen to somebody else talk about their experiences, and I can almost relate to every single one of them.
So
again, I get paid to talk. We could sit here for 5 hours because I get paid to talk for a career.
You can ask Russ. I do that all the time. I don't get paid to do it, but I love talking. I love it.
We can be like the Jazz and stay out for 3 hours. That guy's got some long shows, man.
I think our longest interview we ever did was the Fast interview.
Oh, Aaron Fry, it was like 2 hours long. Yeah,
that was my favorite. I hate saying it because I absolutely love Brandon Spithaler, and he was our most viewed video. But I absolutely love that Aaron Fry interview we did because it was so much fun to learn the stories of the historic tracks and talk just old school car stuff. I loved it. The history. I had so much fun with that episode. I'm sorry.
I could go 3 hours without trying. I just might need a lot more water.
I'm good for that. I am perfectly down for that.
Don't drink that green water you showed me or whatever that was.
You missed that one. It was like some healthy. Where was it? Here it is. It's an organic super green mixed berry flavor.
Oh gosh.
It looked like swamp water.
That's no lie.
I think I do have a question. I'll try asking.
It looked like Eldora's toilet water, just not as appetizing.
Oh, that's nasty. All right, so I think I've come up with my question because I don't know if we talked about it in this episode or if it was prior. But you said you did iRacing. Do you have a favorite? I would say genre, but favorite class to race in iRacing? And it doesn't have to be dirt. It could be pavement, off-road, anything. Do you have a favorite class you like to race?
I hate it all.
Fair enough. I was just curious if you had a favorite that you like.
I can't win, so guess what? I hate it all.
That's you sound like me with go-karts. I am not very good, but I 100% agree with that one. It's fun, but it's not.
Let me rephrase. The funnest time, and yes, my English, funnest. You got it?
I heard absolutely nothing. I'm horrible myself.
It's more funner.
Funner. There we go. That's better. But no.
That was a sarcasm, Alex.
Super speedways are... I don't want to say they're stressful, but they're not fun. I don't know even what the word is to describe super speedway racing on iRacing. It's just
chaotic.
Yes, to an extent, it's just all.
I 100% agree with that.
Do you want to start up front? Do you want to start mid pack? Do you want to start in the back? There is no good starting spot, especially with how some people are, because you might get run off. I have not. My iRacing membership got cut off before micro sprints came out. I'm a little upset about that one.
Oh, great!
I don't have iRacing anymore. I don't have my PC because my PC got too old to run iRacing.
Okay, I agree with that.
I haven't gotten to run out of the new stuff. Micros, Millbridge.
Have you tried the new Outlaw game on Xbox?
No, I had the first one, but not the second one. I'm partial on the 2024 version, whatever the new one is. Their first one was good, and then they started adding stuff to it. I don't really know if I like the second one as much, but I only have like 17 hours in the entire game, and it's been out since September of last year. I have played it very little, but I love the original one.
So before I lose it,
too late.
What do we want to call it? The English blunder here. We had a second ago. It made a question pop into my head. So, Alex, what's the worst announcing blunder you've ever made? Like a wrong
I want to hear this.
You missed a pass or you cursed on a mic, and how did you recover from that?
It was never curse on a mic. I'm going to knock on wood right now because I saved every single thing when this happened because calling a 4-cylinder race at Bridgeport. Car hits the wall. 4-cylinder now in the air. I'm sitting there and I'm biting my tongue because I'm like, what do I say? And you got to think on the dime. And I'm like, don't swear, don't swear. I'm like, car apart. That was it. I just get looked at in the press box. They're like, car apart. I'm like, well, it went apart. There's pieces of the car on the racetrack. The owner comes up and looks at me and he goes, did you just say car apart? I'm like, yes.
That might be the greatest thing I've ever heard.
I will wholeheartedly own it.
I don't know. Brian Lisk, might have you beat, man, because I'm going to tell you, I was at Attico. Oh, man, it was the year before I was flagging at Fremont, so it was 2022. We were watching the races, and I think it was a multiple car flip, but out of nowhere, like literally out of nowhere, Brian just goes, well, that'll toot your stink flute. That's probably the funniest thing I've ever heard an announcer say at a racetrack.
But it's now I will say it was I still get text messages from my score and the race director at Bridgeport all the time when they're like, does this deserve a car apart yet? I'm like, yes.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there. I thought you were done with that one. I'm sorry, but
no, it's like I still have it, and it probably holds the top blunder of that because it was one of those of like I've never seen a 4-cylinder fly through the air, and I'm like, I can't swear, I cannot swear, I got nothing to say. I need to say something. And then for like the next 24 hours, I get multiple text messages about car apart.
Which part?
Exactly.
All of them.
Which part went where? As long as the driver was okay, man, that's the biggest thing. I hate seeing crashes where people get hurt.
What's worse is the driver texts me and goes, you could have said something better than car apart. And I'm like, well, your car did go apart.
You got it from all angles, didn't you?
That's pretty good.
I was like, it's worse when the driver texts me and says and comes after me about it. But I'm like, you know what? It's worth it. I'll take it.
That is a funny. I like that one. That's pretty bad.
Just as to your character, and that's the other thing that I'm so excited about is seeing a new face and hearing a new voice that brings their own character to it, rather than trying to copy, especially Johnny Gibson, like so many other guys try to do. Johnny is his own person, and only Johnny can be Johnny. That's what I like so much about Chase and about you, is you bring your own character to your job. So that's what I think makes it most exciting for me. So
I have a question I'm curious about for the season. Do you have a favorite track that you're looking forward to calling this year on your schedule?
I'm going to get called a homer for it. But Williams Grove and Lincoln, of course.
I was just curious. I didn't know if you had a favorite track that you think that will produce the best calls or best excitement. I just wasn't sure if, obviously Lincoln and Williams Grove are close to home, but I wasn't sure if there was, a moment you're looking forward to, walking into a track and knowing it's going to be a great race to call.
So other than I've been to Williams Grove, I've been to Lincoln, I've been to Wayne County, and I've been to Sharon, and I've seen races that I stopped up at Fremont on my way back from Kansas. Tracks that I have not called and I want to be at a race is definitely Waynesfield, because that racetrack just looks like it's going to put on phenomenal races all year. Fremont, after going there, it just gives me it's like one of those racetracks that gives you a historic feel and gets me
absolutely
super excited to go to. Those are two that I'm definitely on my bucket list. I would say Eldora just because it's part of Ohio Speed Week in general. going to be exciting. But yeah, definitely Waynesfield, I would say, as a track that I have not been to, that I've only seen video of, Waynesfield is definitely number one on that list.
It's kind of small, man. So it's a really tight, small racetrack, and I'm gonna tell you, like the action is just nonstop, unless there's a caution. But
We need to get him to Lernerville eventually.
I hope. I really hope.
We would love to have you out just because I feel like it'd be fun to finally meet you in person, and then you get to watch the High Limit Tour or something. Just have fun out here.
oh, we were at Lernerville. We actually got invited to Lismore Speedway, Nathan and I, to be guest announcers. But I was like, well, that's all the way in
It's a little bit
Australia.
of a trip for me. It's a little bit of a trip.
I'd have to get a passport and everything.
I still have to get the passport, the real ID, the whole 9 yards, because I can't swim that far.
And the
Oh.
other text messages I've gotten.
Oh boy.
So, State Line on the schedule. I know their former announcer, Hunter Jordan, who's now the pit reporter for Hunt the Front for the late model tour. So he was hoping to pop up for that one, but Hunt the Front runs, so sadly he can't. Drake York is hoping to get to, I want to say, Bloomington, but the issue with Drake doing Bloomington is he would have to drive from Bloomington that night to Springfield for the USAC Silver Crown race that morning.
Ooh.
It's a bit of a hike.
So I'm hoping to drag Drake out for a few races. I mean, me and him have been trying to compare schedules and see when I can get to a USAC race and when he can get to some All-Star shows.
So
We got to get you out for Lernerville in July.
I am off the month of July.
Ooh, there you go, Russ.
So without giving up what we were talking about earlier, you're saying that we were talking about earlier. Don't give that up. But are there any other signature calls that you have, like a signature saying or phrase?
Other than car apart.
Yeah, I don't know if I got anything that tops that.
I couldn't help myself.
I don't think I got anything that tops that one.
Let's give us your best. Here they go, or here they come into turn 3.
Ad lib.
Oh Lord, you're asking for a lot.
No pressure.
You're asking for a lot. Listen,
I'm just playing.
here's the shameless plug. Ready? If you want to hear that, tune in next weekend at Fremont on Flow Racing, and then you can hear it.
Ooh, well
I
played.
like that. That was good. I like that. But no, you don't have to do the here they come into turn 3. I was just kidding, because it's tough to do that without being in the moment, and I know that.
Also, don't sit next to me at a racetrack, because half the time I'm talking to myself, calling the race to myself, and I might look psychotic half the time, and it's fine.
I'll make Russ sit next to you.
Correction, if I sit in the infield, so like Williams Grove, I'm in the infield. I can only see half the racetrack. If I'm sitting in the grandstand, well, that might be a different subject.
I don't know. Sharon's pretty good for their infield. You can just spin around and just get really dizzy.
Yeah, I've done that before.
Well, how would you actually keep the crowd hyped up or involved if, let's say, the track's really, really dusty and people are complaining, or the show's running late? You have anything in place that you might do?
I'm in the entertainment business. You got to keep them entertained 24/7.
I say he could easily just pop up some random song that's been popular lately. I guarantee, Disney songs would come up pretty quickly.
And as simple as this, I live by this saying, and it's a really true statement for racing: expect the unexpected.
I like that.
Absolutely. That's one that you can live by at the racetrack weekend.
I love that.
I've never
Well,
heard anyone actually
I
say that.
definitely got to get Rich's approval on the old school, Disney and old school cartoon theme songs for the back to school thing, because I don't need a text during the race going, "What are you playing?"
Why are you playing Moana?
I'm going to stay out of that one.
But again, I love theme nights. It's one of those where, depending on the theme night, you can play music that goes to the theme night.
Christmas in
Looked at-
July, you get Christmas music. That'll go real well.
I haven't actually looked at the schedule to see if there are any theme nights at these tracks that they're going to, or for the All Stars themselves, or even Fremont. But
Oh, I know. So I had a whole bunch of different stuff for last weekend because it was the Spring Nationals. I had a whole bunch of different spring hits and different stuff. Now, Fremont is racing to summer. I got a lot of summer music I can play for that week.
At least you're planning ahead. See,
you gotta. If we would
Well,
have
see,
raced on May the 4th or a Friday the 13th, there would definitely be some theme songs going in there. But
Oh boy.
some Jason Voorhees music or some Halloween.
Jaws music to go with it.
But instead, on May the 4th, I will be playing bingo.
Ooh.
Speaking of bingo, how much did you bring home over the weekend?
I was in the negative again.
Uh-oh.
Oh,
Back-to-back
man.
weeks of bingo and back-to-back weeks of negative.
Oh no.
People like my age or older played bingo, Alex.
Again, I'm an old soul.
To be fair, I haven't played bingo in a bingo hall in years. But I used to play all the time with my grandmother just for the fun of it. It just doesn't hit the same.
So, okay, here's something that somebody just texted me personally, not on here, but where did it go? If you could steal one legendary announcer's voice or style for a night, who would it be?
Ooh.
Johnny Gibson.
I think that's what a lot of guys would.
I'm curious on the reasoning.
It wouldn't even be the voice or the style. It would just be Johnny's knowledge, because again, that man is a machine of a person who I've watched doesn't have any notes. I swear, every time I see him, like, I've watched him over his shoulder call a race, and there's like no notes. He calls it off memory. He could tell you their sponsors, where they're from, their last win, how many top fives they have this year. Like, he can tell you all that off the top of his head.
And to add to that, not to cut you off, but to add to that, the guy is a walking encyclopedia of the history of the World of Outlaws. Like,
oh yeah,
crazy.
That's pretty impressive.
But the thing that I really like about Johnny isn't even so much the way he talks or his style, but the way that he can flow with all the different action going on the track, especially now that streaming is involved, how he can literally bounce back and forth between what you were watching on the screen. And I noticed in a video over the weekend they did from behind him in the press box how he had a monitor like right here in front of him. It's a small monitor. And I think that would be excellent if they set you up with something like that and to be able to do that stuff so that people watching can see the same thing that you're talking about.
Now, the one thing I will say, like, I warn camera guys wherever I go if we're streamed. I'm like, I will bounce around. If I see a slider for the 15th spot on track, that slider will be called like it's a race lead. I don't care if it's for first or for the dead last position. Guess what? It's a battle on the racetrack. We talk about the battle on the racetrack. You never know. There could be a 10-car battle going on behind the battle for the lead. But if you talk about the battle for the lead for 25 laps, no one's going to know what happened for that other battle.
And that's what I like about certain announcers is they'll announce the actual action going on the track rather than okay, the leader's way out front, he's lapping a bunch of people and he's 5 seconds ahead. That's pretty boring to just sit there and talk about it. You know, he puts this guy lap down, that guy lap down. I like when announcers get into the action that's going on in different areas of the racetrack. So I think that's going to be a great thing about you too, that you don't just talk about one or two guys the entire time.
I think it's going to be a fun year. I'm trying to convince some drivers. I know before we went on, I was texting Bobby Elliott. I was like, because he was saying about where's he going to run this week, and I'm like, Posse Country ? He goes, maybe. I'm like, just do it. I'm like, come down to the Grove. I'm like, I will gladly come in the pits. And again, don't trust me with your car, but I will gladly come down and offer assistance. If you would take it, that's up to you.
So that's probably about all I'm good for that stuff. I don't know anything about it.
Oh, come on, Nathan, you got to know about it.
I know very little. The minimal sprint car stuff knowledge is about what I know. I know a lot about late models and fendered cars. I'm not the brightest when it comes to sprint car stuff. I know the basic, I guess we'll call it.
What?
Like I know the hand signals for how to push somebody off and stop, but I'm still learning a lot of the more advanced stuff. I think the most sprint car knowledge I ever received was I did the ride along at Lernerville once, and I never knew how they started the cars at that point until the guy I knew who was doing the ride along proceeded to fail to listen to the instructions and just took off when they started the car rather than take a lap slow and then go. That might have been the most fun I've ever had at a sprint car event ever, was watching, the dirt go zinging by my head and terrified white knuckled holding on to the roll cage. Other than that, I don't remember very much.
So, what is actually your favorite part of doing this job?
I'm a race fan, so it's honestly getting to go to racetracks, seeing a bunch of different racetracks. Honestly, in the 4/5 years of doing this, I feel like I've checked off almost every class you would think of, but at this point, there's 40 million different classes of racing that it's so hard. It's like I've done. I've done go-karts. I've done micro sprints. I've done late models, UMP modifieds, Northeast big block modifieds, or 358, whatever you want to call them. Bridgeport had an open motor rule, so people ran big blocks, 358 spec, so I called them Sportman modifieds, 602 late models, super late models.
Man, just about everything.
The one that I will hold over people's head that I've done that most people have not done is we have a group of people that run. They are called mini pro tractors. They are literally lawnmower tractors.
I know exactly what he's talking about.
I know you would.
That is probably the sketchiest racing I've ever seen, but it's epic.
I've actually flagged those. We had those at my track when I used to be the promoter of Martinville, the go-kart track down here. So that's
so now I'm curious. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, there's a question coming in. What is the one thing, or what's the one thing fans don't realize about being an announcer?
That's kind of tough, honestly, because it's like everyone says, if you ask people, they don't understand how we do it. I say my job's easy. It's not really easy, but I always joke with people. And I'm like, my job's easy. I'm like, out of everyone at the racetrack, when it comes to either a series or something else, I would say my job is the easiest compared to, you got to think, tech officials, race director, scorer, series director, drivers. I'm like, I have the easiest job. Before a race day, I have one of the most stressful jobs because, like, I'm working on getting guys sponsors, where they're from, and everything else. A week prior, I was reaching out to guys that I knew were going to Attica last week before we canceled, that I got their stuff, a week prior to that when we're supposed to start. So it's like the chaos before a race weekend, it's kind of stressful. I would say during a race day, we have the easiest job.
No, definitely. I couldn't agree more, to be honest with you. But the stuff you have to get ahead of time, whereas the tech man and so his stuff's already there. He's just got to wait for the cars to show up. But I don't know. I don't know if I would want to have to deal with trying to get all that stuff out of those guys, especially if they just keep ignoring it and not blowing you off. Like, I know some of them probably just procrastinate it and put it all to the end, and you're trying to scramble last minute to remember it all.
Oh, some drivers, I will say a lot of drivers have a good sense of humor about it. So it's like, there were drivers I'd read out, like when I did UMP stuff. There'd be drivers I reach out to 3 weeks prior to the race, and I reach out to them 3-4 times in that 3-week span. I get to the racetrack and I look at them and I go, "Do you want your sponsors read, or can I just make up something?" And every time I ask them that question, I get a chuckle, and then I get their sponsors, and I'm like, "You see, wasn't that hard."
I like it. Hey, that's one way to get it out of them.
That's pretty good.
Sometimes.
The other cheap way, I will say, is just go through the pits. I'm one of those where if I know where you're from and I have that in, and I just don't have your sponsors, if they want to be difficult and they want to just leave me on open and not give it to me, I will literally just go take a picture of your car, and whatever sponsors are on your car are what's red. Because I know there's a lot of drivers that don't know them off the top of their head. And
when the guys gotta look down at their racing suits or look at their car. I'm not ragging on them at all, because it takes so much and so many people to help. But so,
do you have a favorite class that you like to announce, or what is your? I'm trying to think of a good way to word it. You said that you would call all these different classes. Do you have a favorite or one that you enjoy the most because it's the most exciting for you?
Sprint cars are number one. Being from Central PA, it's posse country, sprint car country all day long.
Fair enough. I can understand that one.
A close second is late models.
The crates or the supers?
Supers.
Okay, just making sure.
Crates around a bull ring is third.
Okay, I was just curious on that one.
Around a half mile is seventh.
Okay. What's the rest of your top 5? Now I'm curious. You've listed the first 3.
I would put Northeast Modifieds in the 5th spot.
Okay, the big blocks is, I think is what they call those.
I'm not going to put any of them in particular there. It could be, I will say, I've called Sportsman, Northeast Modified Sportsman, and also Big Blocks 358. They're all fun.
Okay, so basically modifieds.
Yeah.
Okay. And then what's your 5th place?
Oh no, that is my 5th place. 4th place.
Oh,
just 600. 4th place is 600 micros.
Okay, that's fair. I'm surprised that one didn't go further up the list, actually.
No.
All right, just curious.
Now maybe if I get to go to Millbridge or Tulsa, they'll be up the list. But
I will say, now, granted, I was not there for the micro sprints. Going to Millbridge and go-karts is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, and it was so worth going there to experience it. That is the craziest track I have ever seen when it comes to go-karts. And I've seen a lot of different tracks. That was my favorite track I've ever raced on. Of course, I haven't raced any in Central PA. Eventually, I'll have to come out and experience that while you're there.
Go-karts at track is now closed, but I called the final race of go-karts at Trailways. Which we
Okay, I think I know where that is.
Later, that was the final race track. That was the final race at Trailways. But Trailways with go-karts, I will compare it to the Daytona 500 of go-kart racing because it was bump drafting after bump drafting after bump drafting. If you weren't drafting, you weren't doing something right.
I will say now, I know a lot of tracks are like the bump drafting, like the quarter mile, oval tracks. I never got much into those, but in a go-kart at Millbridge, I almost compare it to racing Fairbury in a late model. Up against the fence, down against the bottom. I mean, it's a pack racing, but you've got 3 different lanes you could run at Millbridge, it seemed like. It was the coolest thing ever. And it was one big pack, but you could literally run right up against the outside wall, bang in the right rear off the cushion in the outside wall, and still being able to kind of run with the pack was kind of fun for me. And it usually you don't turn the wheel very much, but the back end would step out so much that you could power slide through the corners and still keep the momentum coming down the straightaway. It was almost like driving a sprint car for me, it seemed like. It was so much fun.
Like I will say, Millbridge is on my probably top 5 bucket list tracks I would like to get to. I sound like a nerd when I say Fairbury for the PDC because that is just a given for any late model fan.
I 100% agree with that. I've never really watched it other than the highlights. But, from seeing the highlights, that's what I compare Millbridge to in go-karts. I'm sure the micro sprints are the exact same way.
I mean, it's the PDC's on that top 5. Millbridge is definitely on top 5. Tulsa in general, the Expo Center, when there is dirt in that, is on a top 5 list. The Dome, because it's the Dome, the Dome is just entertaining. Maybe not all the time is the racing good, but there's always an entertainment factor of the Dome. I would love to compare it to I don't want to say it's a cult following, but it really is because, there are people that are, there's the Dream following. People that go to the Dream every year or World 100 every year. There's a Dome following that it's like every year they go to the Dome. That is their race where they put money up, and that is where they want to go no matter what. I think the only other track or Crown Jewel, I get to go to Eldora this year, so that'll be checked off. So, I mean, the only other really big race I want to get to, there's a lot. I mean, I'd love to go to Florida, down south for those. I get to check off a lot of stuff this year with the All-Stars. Being from Central PA, the All-Stars are known, and All-Star races are known. So it's like I get to check a lot of bucket list off. So my updated bucket list would be those tracks. But I mean, Ohio Speed Week was always on the bucket list. Fremont for the final race for the Jim Ford Classic, always on the bucket list. So there's, I get to check off a lot of bucket list things, and my bucket list will always be changing because at age 24, getting to check off random stuff off my bucket list, I feel like there's a lot more that will be added and checked off very quickly.
Issue figured out there, Nathan?
What?
You get your issue figured out? I saw that.
No, he was asking about the background.
Oh.
Andrew was asking about my background, and I told him my technical issues.
I was reading a question, or reading through some questions that some people have sent me.
No,
I don't want to sit here and ask all of them because some of them are just really your basic typical questions. I'm looking
for people who don't know, I'm having technical issues, so I don't have a background currently. So hopefully that answers your question, Anthony.
Dumb on you.
You're good.
here's a question that was set to me. How important is storytelling in sprint car announcing, and how do you highlight driver backgrounds and rivalries?
They're touchy.
Kind of a tough one, I guess.
They're touchy. Like rivalries, I will not touch. It's one of those like unwritten rules of you just don't really touch it. Like it's like if they've made contact before and like you can maybe touch it a little bit, but you try not to touch the drama and the chaos that it is. Because it's like it's a multi-edged sword because you never know. People are going to come after you from one angle or another for touching that kind of stuff.
Yeah, you really got to go about it carefully. I would say. I mean, I don't know. I don't have any experience announcing, but I would say it's a fine line. You really have to be careful, you know, so you don't step on anybody's toes because you have to work with everybody. But that would just be my opinion of it. So where did Nathan go? He left us again. I know his phone has been giving him some issues there, but I'm sure he'll be back. Yeah, there
if
he
I'm
is.
gonna type on the computer, I have to close the screen, otherwise you just see my shirt.
Yeah, we talk about my background and stuff later. I'm not gonna get into that. This isn't about me or the
I was just
studio.
answering the questions.
Oh no, you're good. I know Anthony knows better. I'm gonna have to smack him.
Oh, I see. I didn't realize you answered.
But okay, so how do you interact with fans trackside on social media or during promotions?
I'm a people person. I mean, anyone can come up to me and talk to me, and I will gladly have a conversation. It might not be about racing half the time. You could ask me what my favorite color is, and I could gladly have a conversation to you about my favorite color. Like, I will talk to you about the most miscellaneous things. I know there's some people that always, let's talk racing. That's fine and dandy. I will gladly talk racing, but at the same point, there's some people that are like, let me try and catch them off guard. You can't catch me off guard because I can catch every single one of you off guard with. It's like there's certain drivers that I love, and there's certain fans that I love that try and catch me off guard, and I'm like, I will shoot right back with you. Like there's drivers that you can tell the drivers that don't personally like to be on microphone and all that stuff, and they're not like comfortable with interviews. And then I'll just shoot a quick jab, like a random question to ease the tension. And then by the end of the year, they're like a pro at it. I'm like, see, now was it really that hard?
So, what is your favorite color?
It depends.
Nathan.
There's two. There's a
Uh-oh.
There's two.
There can only be one favorite.
Nope. It's an orange and not a blue, but like a baby, like almost like Carolina blue.
Okay, so almost like a cross between sky blue and baby blue.
Yes. That, I grew up down the street from the Kreitz family 69K. I am good friends with the Kreitzes. Donald was my favorite driver growing up because I knew him all the time, and I was also in Victory Lane with him every time he won. I got to be in pictures. So the blue and orange are 100% favorite colors, and I even have a backstory for it. So I see it's not like I'm just like purple, and that's because I just said so.
I tried to throw him off guard. It didn't work.
You can't. Again, always expect the unexpected.
It was worth a try.
So I have one more actual question, and then we'll have to go to either Nathan or anyone else's questions. But my question is, how do you actually balance the entertaining commentary with technical insights for both old school hardcore fans and newcomers?
Yes. Again, it's those questions are always the fun ones because people have asked me that before, and I'm like, couldn't tell you. I just do it.
Hey,
If I show up with a game plan, you know there's a problem. If I show up and I just know that I'm here to do my job, we're gonna have a fun night. But if I come in with a game plan and I have 40 million notes written down, I will put $20 on it that I will not touch half of those notes.
nope. I've done the same thing. So, Nathan, you have anything before we let Alex go?
I have one more, and it's just kind of almost like a random question, but it is kind of on topic. For an announcer that is coming up through the ranks, say you meet some little kid fan in the stands and they say they want to do your job someday. Do you have any advice for them? Any pointers that you would give them? I know you just said you don't have notes that you use, but if in that moment, what's your go-to advice for them to say they want to be like you someday?
Oh Lord, now you're asking me a question. Now I got to put my football coach hat on. Darn it!
Is that a loaded question?
Hey! I almost got him off guard on the last one. I was trying to be a serious one.
Now this is a different one. Now I got to put the football coach hat on because this is what it feels like.
I tried to be serious with it.
I look at it when I go to a racetrack to announce. You don't look at it as a job. It's as simple as this: go have fun, go be a race fan.
Okay, I like that.
In all honesty, I will gladly tell you, like, as an entertainer, my goal is for the people that are at the racetrack and the people that aren't at the racetrack. Not only entertain you, but I need to paint a picture. If you walk away from a screen and you still hear my voice, but you're not looking at a screen, I need to paint you a picture of what's going on, play by play, what's going on this racetrack.
So
you could walk away for 10 laps, and guess what? My job for those 10 laps is telling you piece by piece who's where, who's doing what, who's throwing a slider on who went over the yard sale fence in the turn 4.
I think I understand what you're saying with that, and I do appreciate the way you answered that because I feel like it's for your age, that's a very mature answer, I feel like. And I know this is a little bit off topic, but that almost gives you the Ken Squire, Barney Hall vibe of the NASCAR MRN style. And I appreciate that answer because that's something that people don't really think about. When you hear it on the radio versus seeing it on TV, they don't feel like the same vibe anymore. So if you're able to paint that picture while you're on the TV, even if you have to walk away, you still got that mental image of what's going on. And I think that's a great answer.
When it starts feeling like a job and feels like you're clocking in for work and you're not enjoying it as a race fan, that will be the time that I hang up my headset and walk away.
I like that answer. That's a good way to look at it.
Job. Now, give and take. I always joke with drivers if they ask me, because, again, you got to think, for me being from Central PA, it's like 7 hours, 8-hour drive, maybe plus for some of the racetracks. If you look at me the moment I show up and you go, how are you? I'm going to say I'm here, because at that point, I just drove a long way to be here.
That's a fair answer.
Unless I have drivers from Bridgeport, you can ask them. They're like, they get concerned when I show up because I drove 2 hours every week to Bridgeport. They got concerned if I showed up and I didn't have a Starbucks in my hand. And honestly, if there's a Starbucks near any of the racetracks, I will probably have Starbucks in my hand at every racetrack I show up to.
There is
That's
one
funny.
near Fremont, but it's actually inside the Kroger store. So,
and there's actually one right down the street from Lernerville now. They just put one in recently.
But it's also a Kroger, so I can get stuff at Kroger.
Kill two birds with one stone.
So we don't have Kroger's. We got Giant Eagle in the same parking lot.
Now I have a feeling, and I will gladly never turn down free Starbucks if anyone ever texts me and goes, "I'm stopping at Starbucks before the racetrack. Would you like anything?" I will gladly take a free Starbucks.
Get the announcer
Noted.
gift card,
Noted.
man. The guy needs that coffee to stay awake up there and do that job.
I will drink coffee like literally. I look like an old person when I'm in the press box because I will. Everyone, people chew gums or like have cough drops or something. No, my go-to is Werther's Originals.
Ooh.
I am an old person when it comes to my hard candy.
Hey, as long as it's not the sugar-free kind, then we're good.
Butterscotch.
Who does sugar-free caramel?
You'd be surprised how many people don't realize that stuff has laxatives in it. They just eat it.
I mean, come on now. Coffee is a natural one, so I don't want to hear it.
I just laugh because whenever I've brought that up to people and they go, that stuff doesn't have laxatives in it. And then you flip the thing over and it says it right there.
It says it right there, indeed.
It is quite comical when people eat a bunch of those because they're so good and then realize that it's going to be a long night. But one of these days we'll have to get you out to Lernerville so I can get you a Starbucks gift card for your free announcer coffee.
Listen.
Hey, Nathan will take care of you.
Starbucks makes me happy.
I will happily hook you up if you promise you're coming to Lernerville at least once this year for a sprint car race. Preferably if you come out for the July 22nd race. I'm sure I can convince Russ to stick around for that. Ouch.
July 22nd. Let's see. What's going on July 22nd at Lernerville?
3 kids to take care of, too, so.
I'm sure you can come out, for one night. We'll kidnap you for one night.
Let's look on here.
I believe that's not the Silver Cup, I believe. Is it the Silver Cup or Commonwealth Clash? I can't remember now.
July.
One of the two.
Speaking of the Commonwealth Clash, I'm wearing my Clash shirt.
It is Silver Cup.
We got to get you out for the Silver Cup, at least one night of it.
Let's see here. I want to see something. Let me look at my schedule real quick. June. Oh, I'm depressed. I'm depressed. I'm heartbroken. I mean, the Ohio Speed Week is the most racing chaos ever because you got to think now we have 9 days of Ohio Speed Week. In the same weekend span, we have the Firecracker at Lernerville.
Oh yeah,
Same span we have Eastern Storm with USAC.
Ooh, yikes!
Because me and Drake York have joked because I'm like, of course. You want to come to Ohio Speed Week, you can't because you're at Eastern Storm. I want to go to Eastern Storm, but I'm at Ohio Speed Week. I go, it can't work out any better than what we thought it could.
We got to get you to at least one sprint car race at Lernerville, whether it's a sprint car spectacular or a high limit show. We got to get you for at least one.
Maybe high limit. I might be able. I might text.
I believe that is a high limit show on the 22nd, which is 2 days after my wedding.
So,
sorry, I'm married to a headset.
Fair enough. We always are welcome to having friends out for the races. We love having people at Lernerville. So we make new friends every year.
Not to be put a damper on the mood here, but we're actually 15 minutes over.
I thought we were going another 2 hours.
I have to go to work tomorrow.
Oh man!
So
I kind of have to finish working on a 600 tomorrow.
Ooh, fun!
So I really hope he's still not listening to this because I know he's going to text me tomorrow, being like, "Here's what we need to do," and I'm going to be like, "Absolutely not."
I'm not awake yet.
We still have to wrap the car, and we race Wednesday as of right now.
Ugh, you got 24 hours.
So
we don't talk about it.
So before we go, though, I have one for all of us.
Oh boy!
Each one of us.
Each one
of us has to do this. So we each have to finish this sentence, and we'll let Alex go first since he's the guest.
I volunteer to go last.
No sprint car night is complete unless
Oh boy.
Sir, you made it too easy. Unless there's a slide job thrown.
you're going last, Nathan.
I'm gonna go last because I'm gonna get myself in trouble if I don't come up with something.
To me, no sprint car night is complete. Unless there's good, hard, clean racing without anybody getting hurt.
Ooh, I got a good one. I'll probably get in a lot of trouble for. No sprint car night. Sprint car night is complete without a wing dance.
Fair.
Because if I say anything else, I'll get myself in trouble.
Fair.
I mean, that's usually how the night ends, is a wing dance, I think.
Keep that
Unless you're Carson Macedo and you just came off surgery and then go ahead and win.
I mean,
Okay.
another alternative is you go to Waffle House.
That's a big win. The issue is there's like 2 Waffle Houses in the state of Pennsylvania, or at least in the central PA portion of Pennsylvania.
I mean, the closest one to me is Hubbard, Ohio, I think. Hubbard, Ohio, I think is the closest one to me. I don't think we have one in Pennsylvania. At least not in my side of the state.
Now, give and take, I will be wholehearted and tell you, like, am I looking forward to? I hope Mother Nature doesn't do it, but if like we run a Friday night and Ohio State's home and we don't run Saturday, I'm going to Columbus. There is no ifs, ands, or buts about that. Not gonna lie, if we would have raced this weekend, I would have drove and hauled every single last gas from Attica to Columbus on Saturday to watch Ohio State spring game, or if Ovechkin wouldn't have scored the record goal, I would have went to Columbus to watch that game, and then I would have hauled right back from Columbus to Attica. I don't even know how many hour drive it is. I would have probably saw one period of hockey or one quarter of football, and I would have been happy, and I could have drove home.
Didn't they score that in New York?
Yeah.
I was gonna say that wasn't in Columbus. That was in.
I know. I was hoping that it would have been in Columbus because that was the plan. So the original plan was if he would have held off and did it in Columbus, or he would have only needed to beat the record in Columbus, I would have went to the Columbus Blue Jackets game. When he broke the record, then my plan was we were going to run Friday. I was going to go to the spring game Saturday morning, go back up to Attica Saturday night for the second half, and then drive home.
Okay.
Mother Nature decided to ruin my whole weekend.
Ugh, that's the worst.
So I was like, Mother Nature, if you would like to stop being yourself and please get back on your meds and let me run some races, that'd be great.
We got to get you to Blanket Hill with your 600.
Are the promoters there still the same?
Though you mean from the original opening to now?
No, I think I know who they are.
When they reopened, I can't remember their names off the top of my heads. I liked them, but go-karts would never work there. At least not like they did back then. I love them as promoters, or at least as the owners, but the whole plan of go-karting did not work out. Especially running right before the micro sprints, because then the rest of the night is, like going off-road. But I know we got to wrap this up for tonight because Russ has work and so do you.
I have nothing. We are fine.
The person whose house my studio is in is
already mad.
Wanted me to wrap it up.
All right. Do you want me to start, Russ, or you want to start it?
That we could have done this earlier.
I just got home prior to this starting, actually.
Well, then I feel like this is a part one of probably many parts at this point.
Oh, I'm sure it will be.
We'll gladly have you back on.
Trust me, I enjoy having a fellow ADHDer. We get off topic like that. I love it.
But yeah, we do got to close her down. So
all right. Well, I guess.
I'm
Go ahead.
well.
Oh,
First of
wait,
all,
wait. I gotta
hang
do
on.
housekeeping. I gotta do housekeeping.
Oh boy.
Housekeeping.
I
Oh
gotta
yeah.
I gotta do my job's housekeeping here.
Okay.
Don't forget,
Okay.
every weekend that we are racing with the All-Star Circuit Champions, you can catch every race live on Flow Racing, including Ohio Speed Week, the Jim Ford Classic at Fremont, and as well as Williams Grove and Lincoln at the beginning of June before Speed Week, as well as we will be on Dirt Draft, so get your Dirt Draft lineups in because I will be competing against every single one of you on Dirt Draft. Again, thank you to Napa Auto Parts for being the title sponsor, as well as Valvoline for being the presenting sponsor. I could go on and do every sponsor, but I could pull those up on my phone, but let's not. Thank you
I
to
like
everyone
that.
who supports the All-Star Circuit of Champions. I will definitely be rattling off sponsors left and right throughout this season. And if you see me at a racetrack and you bring me Starbucks, you will get a shout out every single time.
I like it. So, Alex, I want to thank you, man. This has been truly awesome, and it's always an honor to have guests on our show. And I could have enjoyed it more, but I mean,
I
I
had
could keep
fun.
going and going and going, but oh, I'm gonna I'm gonna stop there. So, thanks again, man. I appreciate it, and you have yourself a good night, buddy.
Oh, it was fun.
So,
Thanks for joining us, Alex.
Of course.
so Nathan, what do you say?
I say it's about time to wrap it up. So with Switching Grooves, I'm Nathan Johns.
And I'm Russ Brent saying race hard,
Stay safe.
and we'll see you there. Good night, everyone.
Good night, everybody.